Hi and welcome to the very first GTD Coaching Cafe. My name is Morten Røvik and I'm here with my friend and colleague Lars Roskilde Henriksen. Hi Lars.
Hi, Morten. That sounds vaguely familiar. Some of you might recognize that as well from the podcast that we do. So great to be here. And this is our first one. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too. And I hopefully everybody can hear us good, and I hope that you can start commenting on. Can you hear us good? Because we can see the comments down below here. Does anyone can hear us or see us? Apparently there are 10 people in the Produktiv Norge, 11 people from Produktiv Norge. Can you see Denmark?
I think it's the same stream that it counts across. At least I'm seeing 11 here as well.
Okay.
Guessing
Okay,
it
good.
might be the same.
Well,
I see Sven responding yes, at least in the Danish comment field.
okay, good. And Carl Ivar says yes, great, which is good. So thank you everybody for being here. Thank you for spending time with us. Our goal with this is trying to help you to master your GTD practice and your tools, and you can send us some comments in the comments field. You can also ask if you have something in advance we can join you, or we can tell you to join us live here on our stream. But Lars, have you received any requests for or questions for the coaching cafe in advance? I think maybe you have.
I have indeed. So Jens was, some of you from Denmark at least will know Jens, GTD enthusiast extraordinaire, I think is
Yes.
his his title, and he's been focused very much on supporting people with establishing their weekly review habits. So he's been really diving into this and looking at all the details. And one thing that came up for him as he was reviewing this was he was looking at each of the 11 steps in the weekly review and came across a small detail, he called it, at step 8, which he had not noticed before.
Mm-hmm.
So the question was this review project and larger outcome list. And the question was, what does that mean? So I'll pass that question on to you, Morten. What does that then mean?
Yeah, well, as many times when you try to understand GTD, you come across this kind of what does this mean? And it's room for interpretation here. But if your larger outcomes can be, for instance, could be your for instance, I have a target on something that has to be finished in 3 months. It's a larger outcome, maybe a main project with sub-projects. I'm working on the sub-projects, and then I have to make sure I don't lose track of the main project. At least that's how I interpret that. How's your interpretation, Lars?
Yeah, I might. What I was reminded of was the higher horizons of focus. So, my thinking was that this could be related to we at some various points in time will tend to reflect on the higher horizons, and this might be a good reminder for us to check in on those.
Yeah. Yeah, that could be larger outcomes. Could also be your goals, if you may, for
Yeah.
lift your gaze to the further in the horizon. So I think that kind of answered that question. So hopefully we will get some in the chat. And I am monitoring the Norwegian Produktiv Norge site. If you have a question for us, please post it. I have clicking on the live window to expand stops the stream. Aha. Okay, good. Carsten says we have a problem with the stream. If you try and make it expand for a full view, maybe Safari makes problem for this. I don't know, but okay. Any questions for us? Anything we can help you with? Do you have something tool-wise or methodology-wise you would like us to help you with?
And I can add, as we wait, that Jens says thanks for the nice answers.
Okay, good. So, yep. It works in Chrome. For Carson says if you are trying to expand the window for the video to full screen or bigger, apparently Safari on Mac will, explode or something. It doesn't work. So,
Not for Michael, and feedback from Feder as well that it works on his PC with Firefox and Windows 10. So then now the tech support should be all clarified.
Okay. So, and since we're not watching gtdnordic.se and only Denmark and Produktiv Norge. So if you are on any of the other pages, we can't see your comments there. We are manually monitoring when we are cross-posting like we are doing now. We will not be able to see your comments unless they are either on Produktiv Norge page or the page with gtdnordic.dk, Denmark. Som for øvrig et dejligt land. So, since we are not getting questions at the moment, maybe we should just make something up. Not make something up, but address some of the things that we normally would get when we coach people. And I go to my, if I'm going to do this,
I actually see a question.
Hi, we have a question. And I see also a question here.
Sorry, Morten, you were just going to tell something really exciting. Let's pick up the question first.
Yeah. Okay, question?
Do you see it in the chat?
I see Edmund Bendixen. I don't know if that's the same. Yes, okay. Will you read the question?
I'm happy to, yeah. So could you say something about projects and how to follow them up in tasks? How do you connect tasks to projects computer-wise?
A good question. That depends on the tool, I would say. So you have some tools who do this very elegantly and some tools where you have to do this semi-manually. Tools that are semi-manually could be, for instance, Microsoft To Do and Tasks. I don't know things for do they have connection between next action and project?
Not sure off the top of my head.
No, but other tools like Todoist and OmniFocus has a link between the project and the next action to that project. So if you are on one of these tools, you're in luck. You can make a connection. That is, you can make a project, you can establish a project, and then it could automatically then, under that project, you can add a task and then assign a context where you're going to, like the office, home, errands, computer, whatever. But if you're not going to do this automatically, there is a manual way, Lars.
Well, that was a kind of leading question. I just want to get back to Edmund because he's elaborated specifically in Outlook.
Yeah.
So just before we go into that, or we can quickly cover that, the quick way, the hack way to do it would be to add a hashtag. So you would have a specific hashtag that you would use for a specific project, which you could then also append when you add different tasks in there. So when you then search for that hashtag, you would both get the project name as well as the tasks associated with it, the next actions associated with it. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just going to add that if you're really good at, for instance, let's say that you want to paint the cabin or something like that, just for a simple project, then cabin in itself, as long as it's unique and it will not be going, you don't have to have the hashtag, the cabin, the name cabin could be enough to search and see that you actually have a next action on that project. But if you have a lot of cabin projects, then you have to have a hashtag or a shortcode, something like that.
Yeah, exactly. So, and Edmund, to your follow-up question, so you put the hashtag in the subject field? Exactly. So that's where you would put it for both the next actions and the project, and then you would find them. But just want to take a step back and maybe challenge that a bit, because I'm coming back to where you were heading, Morten, with some common questions. I'm this week delivering a virtual seminar, a fundamental seminar, and today we talk clarify and organize. And of course, one of the topics that always comes up is this, I don't know, need or wish or preference to have this visibility of the link between projects and next actions. And I can certainly relate to that. I have a tool as well that I use for my lists, and I do see the next actions next to my projects. But from a methodology perspective, it's not a requirement. It
It's just
could
easy.
work just fine. Yeah, it's nice to see them. But it's nice when you, for example, do a weekly review. So when you run through that, it's easy to see that all my projects have a next action. There's typically a number that shows you this. But from a methodology perspective, it's really more that we want to show you an overview of what you're working on. That's the projects list. We want to make it easy for you to work on things. That's the next actions list. The link is really more from a weekly review perspective. It makes it a whole lot easier. And people coming from project management backgrounds, for example, they will typically really like to have this link. And again, I can relate to it, but keep in mind that it's not a requirement for GTD to work for you. Just wanted to add that as well.
Yeah, but it makes sense also, outside the weekly review, that it makes sense to have this connection somehow, because if you have a lot of next action, a lot of active projects, as many do, you can confuse yourself. What is this next action here? Is this related to this project or the other? I don't remember. And then kind of like, then you have to think twice, and that's not GTD. You should think once, and you should understand and select whatever task you want to work on.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
All right, so I'll grab the next question. I have a couple here on the Danish channel. One from Fera. He says, while I realize that the best way to get started is clearly with a course with you guys. Thanks, Fera. He's asking, what's the best adoption framework for me as an individual besides reading the book? What would you say, Morten?
Well, if you want to start in the little slow and cheap way, it could be listening to our podcast, the GTD Nordic podcast, Getting Things Done by GTD Nordic. Attending at Oslo GTD, not Oslo GTD gathering, but one of the gatherings in the Nordic region for GTD, where we will help you.
Meetups, yeah.
Meetups, yes. And then I think maybe the next step would be to attend a course online. We are doing online courses now in the whole of the Nordic region, either for a company or for just an individual, what we call an open online version of the fundamentals. And then the step up from this would be to have one of the Nordic coaches coach you, like Lars, me, Karl Ivar, who else is coach? Help me. Jukka Bachmann. Yeah, and we have more to come, more people to come to become coaches. So that's interesting. And so it's kind of ranging, and the let's put it that way. The more you pay, the faster you go. No, it is. I remember when I started learning GTD back in 2006. And I remember I stumbled in on, if you think of GTD as a road where you want to stay in the middle yellow line, I was in both ditches on both the sides of the road many times before I understood I was even there. You're wallowing down in the ditch there, not knowing that you are there. So I remember I wish there was someone who can teach me this and bring me faster to the goal for stress-free productivity, and that's where coaching and seminars comes in.
Exactly.
But we're not here to sell you on that. You just that is there. If you want to grab us, do. But we are here to help you now and give you on any budget. After the book is, you can go to the library. You don't pay anything, but maybe some gasoline to go to the library. I don't know.
You can borrow it online.
You can also borrow it. Yes, you can. It's an ebook. Yeah. So and I have another question here from Daniel Ribbing in Norway. Can you give some tips, I guess, on how to manage the calendar so that not be your to-do list? Well, sometimes it could be beneficial to actually use it as your to-do list. we don't use the word to-do list at all, but we use the next action list. And the division between these two are between, if something is important and urgent, you put it on your calendar, because then you give that focus, and it's easier to just switch off all the other stuff, because then you decide this is the most important thing I can do now, right now, and everything else resides on my list somewhere in my system. There is pros and cons for this, because if you are doing this for a long time in the future, 4 or 5 days planning, maybe the reality changes, so you have to rearrange your plans. Do you see any other pitfalls with this, using your calendar as your task list?
It's funny, the calendar is as simple as it is, and we all have one. It's such an interesting topic, and it really varies so much from person to person. I had a first call earlier today with a new coaching client, talking to her, and she had a magical calendar that I did not know exists. She had maybe not even one meeting a day. That was new to me. But as we talked about, that can actually be more, I wouldn't say stressful, but more challenging, because sometimes, when stuff is in the calendar, like you just said, you don't have to think. It's right there. You've chosen. That's what you have to do. So she constantly had to reflect and think and maintain an overview and make decisions about what to do. And I was looking, also from a week-to-week basis. For me, this week I have 18 hours worth of meetings or courses. Next week I have 1.5 hours booked. So it really varies. But yeah, so coming back to the question, how to manage the calendar, it really varies from where you come from. That's why I wanted to mention that it really depends for me on where you're coming from. Is your calendar completely booked, and what is in there? If we look at the amount of unplanned work showing up in your life, does that then make sense with the calendar that you have? Do you have time to then define all the incoming stuff? So it really is a balance, like so many other things in GTD. It really is a balance to try to figure out what is the right amount for me to put in my calendar. And as you can see, for me, I had, like I said, 18 hours this week, 1.5 hours next week. Maybe I could have adjusted some things to also even that out a bit more. So, but hopefully that helps. And then
I really wish I could show people my calendar now, because my calendar is booked, really booked. And why is that? Because I need to focus. As when you become a trainer, and when we are doing some virtual coaching with clients, we always do the Kairos cognition test with people. And one of the things we then get a number on is, are you preferent for, does your brain prefer thinking associatively or sequentially? And if you are high associative, as I am, it's really hard to keep concentration for very long, because I have a very vivid imagination and my brain runs away with me all the time. So I can decide to work with something, and then I get a good idea, and then suddenly I'm doing something completely different. Anyone who can relate to this, gives us a like, so we can see that we are not alone here. Okay, so let's see how many will press like here. Okay, and I know we have a little lag, so maybe people will be a little late. If you sometimes have problems with this, give us a like. Okay. Okay. Carl gives us a yes.
I see a lot of different emojis on my end.
Yeah. Okay. So for me to maintain that focus, it helps me to plan it as a meeting, but a meeting with me. And I do tasks there where next actions I would like to do. I try to tend to figure out how much time I would need, and I'm getting fairly good at that. But I also book my meetings there, of course. But it's and I have a lot of follow up with clients. I have a lot of waiting force. I don't want to last. So that's also in my calendar. And with the calendar system we are using, I'm using, we have a CRM system. I'm using the calendar now in the CRM system. And if I make a meeting with some person, it's actually when that meeting is finished, it's not finished. I have to tick it off as finished. And that is kind of ingenious, I think, because then I have to think, do I have some follow-up I need to do about this meeting? Do I need to do something? Or is this finished, this meeting? And that kind of, that I'm grown very fond of as a part of my calendar. So how does your calendar look on a regular basis? You told me it's very varied, but do you block out time for work with stuff?
I don't do that much. To be fair, next week is a public, not a public holiday in Denmark, but most people are off, so that's why it's more empty than it otherwise would be normally. I still try to be as dynamic as possible and not block too much, and really focus on working from my lists as opposed to scheduling specific time. But on bigger, more important projects that I struggle to really get moving, I might put things in my calendar. And just coming back to the Kairos survey that you mentioned, so you mentioned that you were more associative. I'm more of a dual processor, meaning that I will, let's say, Morten's is associative is left-handed and sequential is right-handed. I'm sort of both. So
ambidextrous.
Exactly. So I will, that where Morten might always pick up the grocery bag with his left hand, I would be looking at the bag and always maybe right, maybe left, and that would be, my brain can go either way. So there are different strengths and weaknesses regardless of how your brain works. And I was reminded as I went through the results with a coaching client recently. And we walked through the results. And I remembered that my wife actually took the test a while back as well. So I looked at our results, and one that really stood out to me again. I have noted it down before, but I'm a high. My brain is very sensitive, or the reflexive response is really strong when it comes to sound audio. So I'm at 74%, I think it was, where she was at 13. She hears very, very little, and that can really be something to keep in mind.
I can visually see that.
Yes, exactly. So a lot of interesting stuff there, and you can go and try that test out. It's you can get the results for free as well.
Yeah, so. It's Kairos with a Kairos, and cognition with CO, GNI Ition, ITEON.com, Kairos Cognition. Yeah. So, and but that is a very interesting task. You have to leave your email address and name before you can get the results, but it's worth it for seeing.
I'm wondering if you still have to do that. They made some changes. You can get an initial report, a very basic report. You can buy the extended report for $10, I think, which places you on the different bell curves, and you get more information. Very cool. Yeah.
But imagine that you have a wife who are low on the audio, which means that for interpretation, for people who don't understand what this means, is that Lars will hear a pin drop, and his wife will have the house come down before she makes a reaction, or something like that, or maybe not.
My example was that the kids can be running around the table screaming, and she can have her conversation with me without any problems, where my brain is would be exploding. So I'm the one who hears when the fan is still running from when I was cooking dinner. When we sit down to eat, I'll be the one to hear that one. So anyway, there was another question from Mika in Denmark. Do you monitor progress on goals and potential projects living in the higher horizons? And if so, how and how frequent?
Yeah, that's yours, Lars.
Well, I'm guessing what you're referring to, Michael, is how frequently we revisit the higher horizons. And
as often as you need to.
Exactly. Next question. No, I think a good starting point for most when they ask, like you said, Martin, it really is as often as you need to, and I will pick them up as often as I need to. But if nothing else, then I have built in my system a reminder to check my areas of focus, areas of responsibility on a monthly basis. So they are part of my customized weekly review checklist to, on a monthly basis, pick those up.
Mm.
Step up one horizon to goals. They will be on, every quarter is typically when I would review them, every 3 months. Step up vision, horizon 4, every 6 months, and purpose every year. And probably I would revisit everything every 6 months, to be honest, just to make sure that I have everything thought through as much as I can. I don't know. Do you do it differently?
Well, I have it as a recurring task in my weekly review checklist. It comes back, and it's every 4 weeks now because of the corona and the shifting. Especially when you go to the areas of focus and goals, that has changed in the corona time. But I just for calibrate my map. Where am I going? So every month, just remind me what are we doing. But before Corona, maybe every 6 months, the whole thing. And I don't have this. I don't see just some of it. I see everything, and I kind of bathe in it and enjoy that. I don't know if everybody knows what we talk about here, but maybe I don't know if we can find something we can share for people to see what this is. While I do that, you can look. Okay, I have one now, a PDF I can share. So let's see if I can just make this and this. There we go. So this is the Horizons of Focus in Norwegian. So I will translate to English. We start on the top with purpose and values, and we also sometimes add principles. So for purpose, values, and principles. How does that look? What does it mean to you? Why are you on the planet? What is your values and what are your principles you will never break? And how does that look when you live your purpose and values and principles? What is your vision? What do you do physically? Describe it as I something. Then is your goals. 12 to 24 months from now ish. What you want to achieve. This could be like change a job, change house, buy a new car. I don't know, something that's in the future. It's not active now. And then your areas of responsibility from work and home. And then what projects do these areas of responsibility birth? What children do they have? And that's your project with a desired outcome name. Cabin in beautiful red before season 2021. And what's on your calendar for your next actions, and what's on your next actions list. So that's the Horizons of Focus we talk about. And this is a part of GTD, not very often mentioned, and is little briefly mentioned in the book. It's more in depth in the Making It All Work, David Allen's third book, Making It All Work. In Norwegian, it's called Hvordan få ting gjort. Is that in Denmark?
Making It All Work?
Yeah.
No, we don't have that. Only the book, which I have right here.
Yeah, the få ting gjort. Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So that's the background for what we're talking about now. So I see we have a couple of other questions as well. Roland Drickman asks or says, for me, it's the tickler file that is the base for my GTD system. I only use the calendar for appointments that need an alarm. Yeah, okay. That's also a way. GTD is very flexible. You can do whatever you want with GTD, and whatever makes sense to you, it's okay. As long as you feel that you're appropriately engaged and don't have a lot of things rumbling inside your head, you can do what you want. So that is, yeah, it is really that simple. If you don't have anything on your mind, well, good. You're not done, but keep it
Yeah.
up.
And that's, make it your own is really what you're saying, and I completely agree. But also keep in mind that maybe you will benefit from, let's say you've read the book, maybe put a tickler, something in your tickler file for 12 months from now to reread the book, because at least for myself, and I know from others as well, that you can adapt it so much to your own that you kind of drift away from the core principles. And we hear that in Denmark. I'm sure you hear that a lot in Norway as well, and I'm sure in the rest of the Nordics, that the trainers see that there will be seasoned GTDers that will attend a fundamentals course because they will want to attend a level 2 course maybe, but they will still benefit a lot from refreshing the basics, because the adaptations that they've made might have drifted too far away from the core principles, and may not even make that much sense anymore. So it can sometimes be good to refresh those basics.
Yeah, and it is, I don't, we talked about this in the podcast as well, but it is easy to take, the old you and then mix it with GTD, and you kind of get a hybrid system. And I did it like this before, so I will try, because I think that works, and then I take this part of GTD and I'm trying to get that to work together. And the problem is that you are making the problem is that you're making problems for yourself. I am the first one to admit this. I had, when I started with GTD, it was a lot of, I don't know, you can translate that into Danish, but armer og bein, arms and legs, with a lot of,
Sure.
yeah. So make sure that when you're trying to do a GTD system, keep to the methodology as close as possible, because it is a holistic system, holistic model. Holistic is that it's I don't know, you call it circular, because everything is attached to everything. So if you, for instance, if you do the 5 steps and don't do your weekly review, well, you're not doing GTD. You're doing GTD, and then you're losing on the overview and control part, which is an important thing with GTD. So don't forget that it is 5 steps, and there are a reason why they are in the order they are, and they don't clarify and organize when you capture. For instance, give yourself the freedom to only capture. So we have another one from this is a question that kind of ran up the stairs without bringing it. I didn't bring to my attention. Edmund Bendixen asks, tasks are related to context. Not sure if that's the correct English word. Yes, it is. 80% of my tasks are at computer. Do you have any best practices for splitting them, like other context that's on the computer? Well, I know people that use software as a context, for instance, in the accounting system. When I use this, when I do something in the CRM system, I have at Pipedrive. So because then I want to focus on this tool and do tasks. How do you handle that, Lars?
Yeah, so I think one other tip relating to that is what Carl Ivar has also commented a bit further down, splitting them based on energy level. So one way to do it is, like you said, based on systems. I do that too. I have one for my finance system, one for home banking, business banking. They are all split up as well. And then you can do it based on the limiting criteria. So one of the frameworks to help you choose what to engage in at any given time is, first of all, the context. So that's why you have them on the context list. Next would be time available. So that is also one way to do it. And then lastly, energy available. So that's what Kaliva also suggested, when you might have a computer low energy, computer high energy, based on your energy levels, to help you make the right choice. And some clients will benefit from having time-based lists, so less than 15 minutes tasks. Or next actions, they might go on a computer 15 minutes, or really time demanding tasks. So let's say you have something that really, it's going to take you 2 hours to really dive into this. It might work for you to have that, or maybe we are approaching the area where you need to block time
in your calendar.
In your calendar.
Yeah. But try out what works for you. Like I've tried the zombie list or the brain dead list. That didn't work for me, and the 10 minutes, 15 minutes that did not work. What worked for me was just Mac and Mac Creative. When I have to do something creative, when I'm a little tired, I also always go to creativity, because then I kind of get an energy boost from that. I know you're opposite, Lars.
I will go into my finance system and fix things, because that is exactly what I did earlier today. So it's been a day with both coaching, several coachings. I had a course earlier. I wanted to be fresh and alert and awake to hang out with you guys. So I picked up my zombie list and worked on some things until we started this. So I've been fixing some accounting things that I needed to fix, and made some nerdy adjustments. So for me, the zombie list, works great.
Yeah, I have my list for what I did before we started. This was the most productive thing I could do was to take a nap. So I did that, which was not on the list, but it kind of like okay, nap time. I don't know.
And I see that gave him some ideas, so that's great to hear.
Good.
I can pick one from the Danish comment list as well. Sven has noted, what if things take longer than you predict in your Outlook calendar? And he notes that he uses day lists that accumulate the time I expect, the duration of the tasks, and then I just move whatever I don't get done.
Yeah. What I do is that I try to make enough air around, at least 30 minutes between every time block I have or meeting. Yeah. The reason for this is twofold. Is one that if I can't finish on time, I have, because when I say I have some some work I need to do, and then I have a meeting and then some task, and then it needs to be at least half an hour on in between the meeting. And the reason for this is because sometimes I'm not good at estimating the time it will take. Sometimes I get carried away. I don't know if you ever do that, but so it takes longer time than I expected. Then I need 15 minutes for Slack, and then 5 minutes just go take air, and then I have 10 minutes to prepare my meeting. Most likely I've prepared in advance, but I just had to read through my notes so I'm ready for that meeting, and the same at the end of the meeting. So half an hour minimum. What do you do when you do this at all?
Exactly the same. Really try to space it out so you have room in between that I used to be really good back in my IT consultant days of back-to-back meetings. That was really the standard, and just looking back, it really did not work. So I'm glad now that I'm able to manage my calendar a bit more strictly, and can avoid those kind of back-to-backs all the time.
Good. We have another comment, I think, from Roland Dreckman. For me, the GTD Focus Horizons really work well together with the NLP pyramid of change levels from Robert Dilts. And NLP is neuro-linguistic programming, and I understand the concept, but I don't know the pyramid. So I'm sorry, we can't make a comment on that, at least not me. Can you, Lars? Do you know what he's talking about?
I can bring up another question from the Danish comments instead. Michael's asking about reference systems. Can you describe good practice and maybe explain your core principles you apply on yours?
Yeah, well, a reference system, for those of you who don't know what this is for stuff you need to keep. You can't throw it away, and there's no action tied to it, but it has a future value. So you should have a reference system. So that can be physical or digital. If you touch on digital first, that will be on a drive somewhere. Preferably I would have it on a synchronized drive somewhere, so I can get to the files wherever I am, on my mobile or on my Mac or PC somewhere. And I will build these with two when I do it in my folder system, I always list my areas of focus, and then I put project folders in there. So let's say I have, we have one of the responsibilities for me in the Nordic region, or at least in Norway, is marketing. And one of the things I put there is the podcast. So we use this podcast to tell you something, but it's also a marketing tool, so people can get to know what we are doing, and preferably maybe come and ask for help at some point. But so that's under marketing, and then podcast, and then we have each episode has an episode name. Episode 39, interview with Alon Talaug, for instance. That is fresh in mind. We did that not so long ago. But in my physical system, I will show you, because I will take this off and I will show you, because I can show it here.
So I'll just quickly make a small ad for the podcast coming up, so that the next episode is actually with Alan. So that's coming up very soon. I think next week, Wednesday, that episode will be out about using GTD as a restaurant owner. So just to let you know.
So this is my handy reference system, everyday reference system. I have folders in folder rack for active projects that we are working on now. And I will see if I can. I have to, because some of these are clients. I can show the client name, so I'll put my finger over the client's name. But this is a folder. Can you see this? Yes. And this folder goes in the rack. And when this it has all paper-based. I need paper-based material. I need for this project, and they are then. When I'm archiving these in just archive folder boxes, and when there are not, and I don't have a lot of them, so I will then archive that in a box of the year. When I purge my system in January, I purge my system. I look for things that are not valid anymore, and then just put that in the box and then put that in storage, and I can get back to it if I need to. If I have to have a client come back, I can then just go back and find my paper-based folders. So how do you do this, Lars? What is your
behind approach? Me I have my Eric
from IKEA.
Eric from IKEA.
Yeah.
He helps me with my organization requirements on a physical level. I have very little paper, and the paper that I do have, we have one of these. I have one here at the office. I have one at home, where I store all of the physical stuff. These are hanging file folders. In them are, for the most part, things that I can just pull out that are labeled, so they're easy to reorganize and move around. But it's fairly static. It's what I need. So let's say I'm delivering an online course. I can go over there, pick out the stuff that I need for that. I go over there to find trainer guides for different webinars, vouchers for software that we use, things like that. So it's actually a very static archive. There's very little, on a weekly basis, even though I will run through it to weed out anything that shouldn't be in there. It's pretty static, to be honest. So from a physical perspective, it's at the work, at least, it's very, very straightforward. But we just had this conversation. There was a topic, I guess, yesterday on the Danish Masterminds group, just about this, and several people suggested those exact boxes that you just showed now.
Yeah. So these you can buy for those. I don't know if I always get questions about these. These are. I just want to see if I can find the number. I know this will come up after. This is Esselte, ESSELTE. It's called article number 105, and then it's /1, 2, and 3, because there's 3 different for left, middle, and right tab. So if somebody wants to write that down, it's Esselte, article number 105 /1, 2, and 3, because then you will have the 3 different ones. And these are available in the Nordic region. I buy them on Norangro in Norway. Where have you find this? Where in Denmark?
Those specific plastic folders. I'm not sure actually. I don't have
Not
those
plastic.
specific
These are
ones.
manila paper.
Oh, yeah. Don't have a good answer for that.
Staples. Check out Staples.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay. Yeah. So, and we got a comment from Carl Ivar, which I'm sure we can just elaborate, because I think he makes us a little reaction to Edmund Bendixson says. So I think priority software energy. Yes, that makes give me some ideas, and he want to make sure that you don't use priority when you sort your tasks, because we don't do this. We use the limiting criteria where priority is actually number 4. So you start with where am I, what do I have? That is your context. For instance, at computer, at home, at work. And then second is how much time do I have? How much time do I have available for this? And then what is my energy level now? So now for all these questions, you get less and less tasks that will fit the bill. And then the last is priority. So what gives me most payoff right now to focus on? So that is the limiting criteria plus priority at the end. So don't start in the wrong end with priority, because I don't know for those of you who have not been in the time manager, I'm old, so I know that we have, time manager is a concept that many of the old timers here have seen and done. And that is ABC prioritization, for instance. I get some A, these are the most important, B is the second important, C is the third important things, and then you have the rest. And the problem with this is fine if your world don't change a lot. But we live a very changeable world. What is good news today, or what is a good task to work on today, is maybe tomorrow irrelevant or gone, or it has to be paused for 2 weeks. So what happens if you get something that's more important than A? And my question is then, do you move every A's to B's to then C's, or do you make another category which is AA or something like that? And that is to set you up for productivity pornography, where you spend a lot of time to fiddle with your system, not making progress on the meaningful stuff. So you will make priority decisions after you've used the limiting criteria. I hope that makes sense to people. Just want to emphasize that. So, do you have any questions more in the Danish group that you can see?
Just Feda was kind enough to share a link to the Esselte website where you can actually buy these directly from esselte.com. So that answered that question. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
And one last question to maybe be put at the end. Michael suggested whether there was any news about level 3 training in the Nordics. And at least from my end, I was just asked about this, so I double checked with the latest update that I got, which was that there would be an update at the beginning of this year. So the year just, to some extent, just started. So I have a tickler to follow up on this, and for sure you will know when we have something to announce, and really looking forward to sharing that with you.
So for those of you who don't know what he's talking about, is that we have 3 levels of education in the GTD system. Is that you have the first is fundamentals, that is the fundamental course, and then you have project and priorities, and then you have focus and direction. And the third, I don't know if I told you, but I've signed up for a master trainer certification for level 3. Cool. That is coming virtually sometime soon to a computer near me, and then I can give it to someone else. Exactly. So I'm wondering if we should, because we are 10 minutes left. Does someone want to come with your question live? We can take you live. While you contemplate that, you just write yes. In the comment fields in the Productive Norge or GTD Nordic DK page, because we don't see any but these. We have Randi who has something she would like to tell us. You might want to tag the task complexity / story points instead of priority. I find that useful at times. And what is story points? Task complexity. You must elaborate on the. So I hope that would be able to. I will put this so you can see what Randi said here. So Randi, if you have this, you want to have this, you have to elaborate a little more what you mean with task complexity and story. Computer thingy. She says, okay, that did not help a lot, but okay. Randi, if you want to come on board and tell you can tell me, because I will then share a link that you can use to get on. But anyone else who would like to come on with their question? A metric? Karsten and Martin has answers to us here. It's a metric for task size used in agile projects. Okay, there you go. There are things in this world we do not know.
We are clearly behind the times on IT projects, Morten. We left that area a while back.
Yeah. Typically software development. Okay. So, does anyone want to come on board for the your last question? You can do it live. You will have to have a computer or an iPhone or an Android phone with a camera and a microphone. We'll share a link with you, and you can come on board. Looks like people. This is like asking people to unmute in a seminar.
This is exactly like that. That's just what I was thinking about. Recommend you stay unmuted. You feel free to talk, and everybody goes on mute. Welcome to the Nordics.
Yes, I'm glad I'm not in Finland, because they don't turn on anything unless they're asked. Okay.
No, but I think that's fine. I think we covered a lot of good questions. There were so many good questions that we went along, and good stuff.
Okay, I don't know if anyone else has a question, because if not, we will close this session. We are close to 9 o'clock. We wanted to do this for an hour or so. So I don't see any questions in the Nordic. Sorry, Productive Norge. Do you see anyone in DK?
No, I think we wrapped it up.
Okay. Then we will just go out with some music, and I will do like this. And hopefully we will have some music. We do not have some music here, but I can find some music. This is not too hard.
We need apparently some music to
say goodbye.
The videos out.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay. I'm not going to spend a lot of time finding that audio. Sorry, guys. Well, thank you so much for attending our very first GTD Coaching Cafe. We really appreciate you guys, and thank you so much for being here and being interested in what we think is the coolest thing on earth, that we actually made our living. Thank you for supporting us, and if we can do something for you, help you in any way, just reach out to us and we will give you a hand. And we have the next, maybe you will go in the calendar and give the date for the next. We didn't prepare for this, but maybe you can go in the calendar quickly, Lars.
Well, what we spoke about was having it on the first Tuesday of every month. Yeah, so for March, that would be March 2nd.
Yes, and you can go to these the GTDNordic.dk and Productive Norge page for the GTD Live Cafe and Coaching Cafe, and you will find links to maybe you can find the Danish and just put it in the comment, Loris, can you?
Yeah, you mean the link to the
to the GTD Nordic page, DK for the cafe, because there you have links to the calendar, so you can make a subscription to our calendar, and then it will show up in your calendar, and you will get a beep a little bit before. So
I can put that in the Danish one at least. I don't have access to the one in the in Norway, and I like his comment on going to IKEA to meet Eric very soon. That sounds awesome.
Do we know Eric? Oh, now I understood this. You're Eric. That makes sense. Okay. Well, thank you so much, everybody. Now it's goodbye time. And hope to see you next time. Bring a friend, take a cup of coffee or something to drink, and join us the first Tuesday next month, and the next month, and next month, and we will break for summer, but we will go back.
And see if you come across a complex question, so we can invite you in here and maybe deep dive into some of that. That would be fun.
Send us an email at podcast@gtdnordic.dk maybe for asking questions for the live cafe, and we can send you a link to join us. So that will be cool. Well, thank you so much, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone. Have a great evening.
For now.